Hello and welcome to my top 10 games that changed the way I look at board games. In the long, long ago, most games were abstracts, roll and moves, conventional card games, or chit and counter war games. They aren't anymore. This list is about the games I played that fundamentally shifted the way I think about gaming and what board games can be about, and what games have influenced me, and likely a lot of people, through the years. Every game I have played has influenced me in some way or another, and there are some big influences not on this list. Risk Legacy, Dominion, and A Distant Plane are some noteworthy games that have influenced me but did not make the list. This list is done in chronological order, not in order of importance, or in the order I encountered the games. So let's start with the oldest game on the list. Your faction does what now? Most games I played when I was younger, you all started off even, or if you were playing a historic scenario, you started at the historical start point. The first game I came across that really did something different was Cosmic Encounter. The concept of having a simple core game that was modified by variable powers was pretty revolutionary at the time. And every time I play a game where your faction changes the rules for you, from Twilight Imperium to Small World, I can't help but think of the influence Cosmic Encounter has had across gaming. And interestingly, Cosmic Encounter has stayed relevant and playable for nearly 40 years. Bling bling, a dollar dollar. Nothing in gaming was quite like the MB Game Master series when it came out. 5 games, all with loads of plastic pieces, huge boards, and for the time, insane production quality. When the competition was cardboard chits, a game like Axis and Allies looked absolutely amazing and breathtaking. Just look at Broadsides and Boarding Parties and its massive plastic ships. This series started my love of thematic games with loads of bling, and is probably the defining series of what we would call Ameritrash games. All for one, and one for all! When the original Arkham Horror came out in 1987, I came across it once but did not play it. It really wasn't until the second edition in 2005 that I really dived into the game. Arkham Horror, along with Pandemic, pushed cooperative board games to the forefront of the hobby, and they are a massive genre within the hobby today, with Spirit Island being the most recent big co-op game that has won me over. Sometimes you just want to work with your friends rather than crush them under your boot. We can't play that yet, it's not painted. Miniature games, whether you love them or hate them, are a big part of the hobby. I'm in the love them camp and have spent oodles of time painting various games. Very few things make me more satisfied than putting a well-painted game on the table. No game has done more to improve the idea of figure painting as an art form than Warhammer 40,000. And while I'm not a fan of that game anymore, the time spent building models and painting armies for it, and all the work Games Workshop have done to spotlight the painting aspect of the hobby, has had a lasting influence on me and the whole of gaming. I use my broadsword! Fire of Wrath! HeroQuest is the best game ever! And if you don't get that reference, go and watch the link in the description below. HeroQuest was a double hit, as it defined the dungeon crawler genre, whose legacy includes games like Imperial Assault and Gloomhaven, and it also got fantasy gaming into toy stores and on mainstream TV. I was able to pick it up at a regular toy store and not a specialist gaming place. A huge number of board gamers from that generation got their start with HeroQuest. Here's my regular crew pretending they are in a HeroQuest advert from the 1980s. Combo after combo after combo! While I may loathe their business model, with the power of a white-hot sun, you cannot understate the influence that Magic the Gathering has had on board gaming. Paying costs to play cards, tapping them, keywords, interactions, and the countless other card mechanics Magic has introduced have had a huge flow-on effect through the hobby. And not just in the deck construction and deck building genres. Games like Seven Wonders and Race for the Galaxy use concepts from Magic the Gathering. I'm just happy their business model isn't a big part of board gaming. I'd hate to have to buy a box of Terraforming Mars boosters just to get Deimos down. Have you got wood for sheep? I'm not a huge fan of Katana. I never have been, but it's hard to overlook its importance to the hobby. It was the first Euro game I played, and while it really didn't do it for me, it introduced me to a world of games that included Puerto Rico and Power Grid. Many years later, this Ameritrash fan is quite content to play Village and Caverna and to thoroughly enjoy those games. I, like many others I suspect, found out about Eurogames via Catan, and I'm really glad that I did. Stretch goal unlocked! More stuff! Love it or hate it, crowdfunding is here to stay for at least the foreseeable future. Very few things have shaken up the board game hobby like Kickstarter, and the first Kickstarter game I encountered was Zombicide. I was blown away that the series of games was bringing in millions of dollars, and with each iteration it grew and grew and grew. And while Kickstarter has had a lot of issues, with projects failing, and the fear of missing out marketing, it has delivered some exceptional games like Scythe and Anachrony. Power on, sound up, let's play. This is one that will likely get a reaction, but I like games with apps, as long as they use the app in a way that creates a new type of experience. XCOM was the first app-driven game I played, where I thought there was no possible way to replicate the experience of that game without the app. You just can't recreate the same tension and pace in the game without it. I also really enjoy Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition, and having the app as Game Master has allowed that game to be played far more often than 1st Edition ever was. I'm genuinely excited about where this can go, especially for games with deduction elements and other hidden information. But is it art? There's absolutely nothing wrong with playing a light and silly game like Exploding Kittens, but I've been increasingly interested in the idea of board games as an art medium and examine them much like you would look at films. When a designer creates a game, they design an experience, but what makes board gaming unique is that the experience is reshaped every time it is played, much in the same way a piece of music is reinterpreted by each musician that plays it. The game that really prompted me to look at this was This War of Mine, and the reason was that it took such powerful and complex subject matter and turned it into a playable and shareable experience. It seemed like a watershed moment for me, that we can have games that are not only fun and engaging, but also thought-provoking. I did some digging and picked up some other games with thought-provoking themes, including Freedom, the Underground Railroad, CO2, Block by Block, Churchill, A Distant Plane, and Kaleka. It is my hope that more designers look at confronting and challenging topics and don't shy away from making games about them. And that's not to say there's no longer a place for dungeon crawling hack and slash. We'll always need action movies to go along with our serious documentaries. So that's my list, and a reminder that it is my list and is based on my journey through the hobby. So what do you think? And which games really shaped your gaming experience? Share them in the comments below. Cheers.